you hear me answering the phone? I'm calling you. Can you come for your dinner, please?
Let me clean this mirror or this camera. That's a lot better. So yeah, I'm going live on my YouTube channel, obviously, and then I'm also going to be going live on my Instagram. So if you do not have me on Instagram or you don't follow me on Instagram, please do so. My Instagram handle is in the description. If you go to my homepage, you can click on the little Instagram icon and it'll take you directly to my page. If you are already on my Instagram channel and streaming on my Instagram page, wow, I was literally saying all of that and I wasn't even streaming live on my Instagram. So if you are on my Instagram live and you do not already follow me on my YouTube channel, please go ahead and do so. The link for my YouTube page is in my bio. So tonight's conversation, we're going to be talking a little bit about obviously COVID, what everyone is talking about, and how our response as just people has shaped what I think is who we can really assume like that we are, like really telling about our humanity. And so I just wanted to keep it really casual. Just wanted to talk about a couple different things. For everyone who's new and joining, thank you so much. I'm going to try to read comments, so please feel free to comment in the comment section. I'm going to try to read on my YouTube live and my Instagram live and just kind of like go back and forth. So if I don't get to your comment or question, I will just try to scroll, but like copy and paste it, retype it or whatever, and then hopefully I will get to it. So yeah, we're going to keep the conversation light. We're talking about COVID, how our response really informs us about our humanity. And when I say that, I really just mean the way that everyone is kind of reacting to things like having to isolate yourself, a reaction to social distancing, reaction to staying at home and not having anything to do, the millions of people who are now creating TikToks who never had TikTok before. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about it, get your guys' thoughts and opinions. I'm going to start out by like kind of taking us back a couple of weeks before everything started going crazy. And I want to be the first person to let you guys know that not that I wasn't taking it serious, but I do feel like my reaction to it was it wasn't not appropriate, but it was just like, it wasn't that great given like the fact that not everyone had a whole bunch of information about the virus and what was going on with it and how it was spreading and that sort of a thing. And so I don't think, like many of us, I wasn't taking it serious at all. And so I don't know, how did you guys like start to hear about it? Were there cases that were popping up in your city? Like what sorts of things were like going on and happening around that time when like incidents kept on happening and occurring? I remember I was in the library and I was studying with a friend, and then we would just start to hear like little cases, like 1 and 2, like this person has it. We didn't hear about any deaths at that point. We heard a lot about like the increase of people that were getting it, some people dying, obviously in Wuhan. And that was pretty much it. So it was very slow. Like I was very slow to respond to it. I wasn't really taking it too seriously. At this point, masks were not sold out at the stores. People still probably weren't washing their hands like they should have been. Let's be honest. But yeah, like I think I was slow to respond. And so I just want to gauge like how you guys like were responding to the virus. Like, were you quick to respond? Were you slow to respond? Did you respond at all? Do you even care right now? Do you think that, oh, hey, Jonathan. Do you think that everyone's response time was appropriate? Do you feel like people could have responded faster? Do you think that people are overreacting? Because I know a lot of people still, like even to today, still think that the response is like way out of proportion to what the stimulus is. And I'm not going to go so far as to say that I don't agree. Because to me personally, I do think that response to the stimulus kind of been disproportionate in the sense of people walking around with gloves and masks, surgical masks and gloves. not really sure that's gonna help. I think maybe if you just wash your hands, and if you're feeling sick, stay indoors. The masks, what people are not getting is that those surgical masks are actually not protecting you from other people's germs. So the surgical masks are actually for, and I'm not talking about the N95 masks. I'm talking about the basic masks that used to be 90 something cents that are now $4 and whatever for the masks are actually for your, like, people's protection of from your germs. So I don't know, like, what are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like people are like it's overkill with the gloves and the mask? Do you feel like people should have just been washing their hands to begin with? Like, what are your thoughts? I'm curious because I don't know if if my thought process, because, like, I have a bit of like medical knowledge or whatever you want to call it. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back or anything, but like, I don't know. I feel like people who are just kind of reading the news and not actually educating themselves are kind of going overboard. Let's see. Okay, so we have one comment. Hey, girl. I don't even care. I think people are concerned about the fact that you can be shedding the virus and not know and not have any symptoms. It took this for people to know to wash their hands, their nasty hands. Yeah, no, that part is a little sketchy. And even still, like, I still feel like it's sketchy because when I would go into the grocery store, all the hand soap was gone. Dispense, like, the refill things, gone. All of it. None of the shelves at all. But yet still there's body wash. There's still dish soap. So are people not washing their dishes? Like, I don't understand. What's annoying to me is someone like me who already like is a germaphobe. Like, I already was doing all of these things before any of this stuff like started happening. So to now go into even the dollar store, no Clorox wipes, no spray, no Lysol spray, nothing. None of it is there, nowhere, anywhere. And in my mind, I'm thinking, so what were you guys using to clean beforehand? Like, how were you cleaning beforehand? Like, why is it that all of these supplies are gone now, but before, when there wasn't a crisis or a pandemic, what were you doing to clean? Like, that part is very confusing to me. And I feel like, to like loop it back to our conversation, I feel like in terms of what it says about our humanity is, one, that a lot of people are living dirty lives. I'm just going to say that. I'll just go out and say that. And two, people are selfish. Like, what people are not understanding with you going to the grocery store and hoarding all of these things. So we have a comment that says, always clean. I'm always cleaning and using Lysol. This isn't anything new to me. Exactly. Like, it shouldn't be. People should have been cleaning and using Lysol, but unfortunately, that's not the case for everyone. Hold on, I'm just gonna close my door. It was getting a little loud. It was getting a little loud. But anyways, I don't think I marketed this video well enough. Let me go. I'm gonna go ahead and repost this. But yeah, my thought process is that people were not cleaning up after themselves before. People were dirty and disgusting, and that people now are hoarding things, are not taking into account the fact that when you go to the store and you buy off all of these things, yeah, you're protecting yourself. But then what about all the people who don't have any? So now you've protected yourself, but all those people who do not have cleaning supplies, toilet paper, which we'll get to, what are they going to be using? So now you're still exposing yourself because you felt like you needed to go buy 6 packs of 24 roll Bounty Charmin Extra Soft double ply toilet paper and clean off the racks from Lysol spray and Lysol wipes. Like, I don't understand. What's really the deal with this toilet paper? Are they going to eat some of it? It's ridiculous at this point. I don't know. All I know is I went to the grocery store maybe 2 days ago, and a lady had a cart full of toilet paper, and it was the 24 pack of toilet paper, and she had 4 of them. And the sign clearly says limit of 2, which I feel like it's ridiculous that adults, keep in mind, adults are going to the store, taking things away from little old women and children who maybe their parents sent them into the aisle to get something, a little old lady who can only afford to shop supplies or for food, bread, rice, nothing. But you want to go and take everything and not share with anyone. Yes, exactly. You're not protecting yourself because you're still exposed, because now you've taken all the products, but nobody else has any. And so now all those people who don't have any products to keep themselves clean, whether it be refills for, what's it called, the soap thing, because you know how you can buy like the huge bottle to refill like soap dispensers in your home. So those were clear off. Don't even bother with those. It's wild to me that people don't take into account that you hoarding everything makes it very hard for everyone else to keep themselves clean and safe. So I'm just gonna, please still comment. Let me know what you guys think about this topic, because I really want to know what your thoughts are. Let me see. Okay. Hey to everyone who's new and who's joining. Please continue to send in your questions. We're going to get back into this topic in a second. I'm just kind of trying to sync because I'm live on YouTube and I'm also live on, obviously, Instagram. So if you are not following me on Instagram, make sure that you do so to my YouTube watchers and subscribers. And if you're on YouTube and you currently do not follow me or are not subscribed to my channel on YouTube, you can go ahead and click the link in my bio. All of my videos, it's a direct link. So if you click on the link, it will take you to all of my videos, all my content on my channel. And that's a great way to get started and get to know me and catch up on all the stuff that I've already uploaded. So let's get back into this conversation. So yeah, what does this virus outbreak say about our humanity and how we interact with people and how seriously we take things like this? Hold on, guys. So yeah, I'm just going to show you guys. So if you're on live and you don't, or if you are using your phone, not a laptop, and you're trying to figure out how to go to my live page, this is what my page looks like. The live link is right here. So the live link is right here at the bottom of my page. So that's my homepage. Let me see if it'll focus on here. The live link is right down here. So just click on it and it'll take you directly to this live. Just click on it. Wow. And it'll take you directly so it's a little lagging. And yeah, so yeah, humanity definitely was not ready. Humanity was not ready at all for this outbreak. They were not ready. As a people, we weren't ready. I think that we underreacted to the seriousness of the spread of the virus. And I feel like in true human fashion, we were reactive as opposed to being proactive. So what's amazing to me is that now you're seeing so many signs of people putting, oh, you should wash your hands. Now in the grocery stores, there you have like the little containers with the Lysol wipes that you can pick out the Lysol wipe and like wipe off like the handle of your cart. These are things that I was already doing. And I'm not sure why they're just making it available for everyone right now. And that should have been a standard. Like, why would you not have the option for people to make sure that wherever they're holding and they're touching, especially if you have a little baby and you're putting the baby inside the car, or you're there trying to pick up your produce and like you're touching the cart that hundreds and thousands and millions of people have touched, and now you're picking up your fruit, and most people, believe it or not, a lot of people don't go home and wash their fruits. So, and even more shocking, a lot of people don't use, you know, the little plastic bags that are like beside each of the produce sections, people don't use those bags to put stuff into. They just put their groceries directly into their cart, and they go home and they don't wash their fruits, or not fruits, but some fruits like apples and pears and that sort of thing, grapes, and they don't wash their fruits and vegetables. So the fact that it's taken this for people to realize, oh, we should probably be clean. We should probably be telling people to wash their hands. We should probably be, telling people to make sure that they're, practicing safe sanitation and doing all these things. Why was this not advocated for before? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, like, it is disgusting. It's sad and it's disgusting. And like that comment said, we as humans, we were not ready at all. We weren't ready at all for, I don't like the fact that this candle is just like behind me. Listen to me, today I almost caught my whole entire kitchen on fire. So I don't really think I should be playing with candles. But anyways, so yeah, no, I think that we could have done a lot better job. What are some things that you think that either where you live, whether it be your province or your city, if you're in the States, or just like your town or whatever the case is, your province or your state, what sort of things should we have been doing? And as a country, what sort of things do you feel like your country could have and should have been doing to prepare themselves better? I personally think that like I said, there should have been more. Yeah. So someone said, be careful. Yeah, no, definitely. Like, I don't know. I think that we should have governing bodies should have taken it a lot more serious. They shouldn't have been so callous, and it shouldn't have taken like places like Italy and that sort of a thing for them to be like, oh, why not put in precautions beforehand? So what are your guys' thoughts? Like, what sorts of things do you feel like your city should have done to implement more preparedness for the virus as it began to spread? And if you think that your city was fine and you feel like people are just overreacting to this, what are your thoughts on that too? Because I'm really curious to hear about people who feel like this whole social distancing thing is stupid. Like, there's a lot of people who do not feel like it's necessary. There's a lot of people who are not adhering to it. Obviously, when you see people just gallivanting on the beach and just out having a great time, like, people aren't taking it serious. So I'm just curious, like, what are your thoughts? So if they had a travel ban since it got out of hand in China, this would have been avoided. Yes, I definitely agree. Oh, sorry, guys. I definitely agree that if the travel ban had been instated earlier, probably could have saved a lot of people from getting ill. I think it's also hard because the symptoms are very similar. First of all, a lot of people are not having a robust response. Like, they're not having like huge symptoms, but they're still testing positive when they do go get tested. So I think that is scary for some people. And then the other thing is, like I was saying earlier, you may be testing positive and not even know that you're in contact with people who are not positive, or you're not testing positive. You don't know that you're in contact with people who are testing positive. I think that's the scary part of it. But then also when you think about like social distancing and how that part kind of factors in and why people are not taking that part as serious, I think it's because the social distancing, the way that medical personnel and like the government has kind of marketed it, and I say marketed loosely, but that's just kind of the word that I feel like comes to mind. But the way that they framed it, I should say, is that we're social distancing, not just because we can get it, like me as a young person, you as a young person, but because there are people who have comorbidities, people who are like have a weaker immune system, either older people, really, really young people, pregnant women, that sort of a thing, who are very likely to get it and suffer a lot more than someone who has a great immune system and who is young and healthy. So why do it now and tell people to go back to wherever they came from to spread it even more? That's the other thing that is very confusing to me. Like, I find it interesting that they're telling people that they actively should go back to their home country. I do understand that, like, okay, you want to make sure that the people from your country are safe. Let's say if you're from Canada and you're elsewhere, you're in the States or whatever, your access to that healthcare is probably not as great. So you would want to come home just in case you're not feeling well. But then you're thinking about, okay, so now there's millions of people going to all of these different airports, all interacting with each other, all, for the most part, less than a meter. I think they said, was it a meter of people in these airports? I actually, let me not say that there's going to be a lot, because I've seen pictures of airports where there's nobody in there, and I've seen pictures where there's thousands of people. The airports, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? So it's already here, so why bother? Let's just have people stay at home until it sorts itself out. They should have had the travel ban in China before all this happened. They weren't going to do that because they didn't think it was out of hand. In China, I really don't think that they thought that it was going to get to the point that it did. And so, yeah, I think that they just were kind of like relaxed with it. And they were just like, okay, well, you know, it'll blow over, like that sort of a thing. When clearly they were not expecting for it to go as far as it has. I don't know. I think that that's a good question. Why bother telling people now to go back home to whatever country they call home? Like, what, I wonder what's the main purpose behind that? Is it to prevent the spread? Like, is that the main purpose? Because in my mind, I'm thinking it couldn't possibly be the main purpose. But then I'm also thinking, okay, like, is it because they want to make sure that if you're away, you can come back if you're a citizen of that country and you can get the healthcare that you need in the event that you're ill? I think they did. People kept getting sick and dying daily. You think that they did what exactly? Hello to the new joiners. Hey, Kevin. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that the travel ban was a little bit delayed. I think it was delayed because people, again, were not taking it that serious. I think that that's just what it was. Like, people weren't taking it that serious, and it just got out of hand. Coming back will spread it even more. That's if you have it. And that's the thing, like, what is access to getting tests like in, like, wherever you live? Like, what is the access like? I haven't really been doing too much research on what access is like. They knew it was getting out of hand. They did, but like at the same time, like, okay, so you know something's getting out of hand, but you don't want to take the blame, because when something goes awry, the first thing people want to do is finger point. So that just is what it is. Okay, so I want to again talk, like, kind of circle the conversation back to our humanity. So what do you feel like, how do you feel like our response is indicative of how we as humans respond to crisis situations, or how prepared we are for crises like this? What are your thoughts on that for the newcomers, people who are just joining YouTube, watchers as well? Please feel free to comment. The comment section, if you're watching on your laptop, there should be a small section at the bottom where you can type and send. And if you're on your phone, it should be at the bottom. You can type in a comment or a question and send it that way. Just press that little paper airplane and I will see the question and it'll pop up. So I'm going to read some questions and some comments from my Instagram page. Again, for the new YouTube viewers, you can also follow me on my Instagram. My handle is in my homepage. There should be a little icon for Instagram, and it'll take you directly to my Instagram page, where you can follow me on Instagram. And if you're on Instagram and you do not follow me or watch any of my videos or my vlogs on my YouTube page, you can go ahead, click the link in my bio, on my YouTube page. Not now because we're in the conversation, but once this is all done, go click the link in my bio and it'll take you directly to my YouTube page where you can subscribe and watch all my videos. Okay, so let's get back to some of these comments. So, okay, so we have, so hundreds of people have to die before they start doing something. Unfortunately, I feel like, I don't know. Hopefully you guys can see me better. Yes, you can. Okay, that's good. But yeah, so I think that people weren't taking it that serious until there was a lot of deaths. But because the deaths tend to be of people who are older, I still feel like people are not taking that serious. That's exactly why I feel like younger people tend to not take it as serious, especially if you don't live with anyone who's older or you're not around people who are older, you don't work with the aging population, you're not going to really take it that serious. That's why you see people gallivanting on the beach and things like that, like I was saying. So we have another comment. Exactly. The U.S. definitely took the China outbreak lightly. U.S. felt invisible. Well, I mean, I don't want to get too much into the U.S. politics of it all, but when I saw Trump up there speaking, and I think, who was it? It was Don Lemon who was saying that he was literally gaslighting the situation. I was like, yikes. So for someone on TV to talk about the president in a fashion where he's saying, look, this guy is telling you one thing, doing something else, and then saying that's not what he was doing, or making you feel like you were stupid for thinking that that's what was happening when really it was already happening. I hope you guys followed that. But that whole conversation, wow. So another comment is, we're not prepared and people are just panicking and acting like wild animals. Yes, exactly. They've not taken it serious at all. People should be staying home. What she said, yes. No, people should be staying home. If you're sick, stay home. Like, what people are not getting is that there are people who actually cannot stay home and their jobs are not closed. People in sectors like policing, people who are firefighters, people who are nurses and physicians and work in the ER, and people who have various jobs within hospital settings. There are certain, like, people who work at grocery stores, cashier, like, there are certain jobs that these people are not going to get time off. So it doesn't hurt you to go do exactly what you need to do, whether it's pick up your groceries and come back home instead of putting everyone around you at risk, instead of just saying, oh, well, it's not happening to me, it's not affecting me, so might as well. But I feel like that's the attitude that we've always taken. Like, it's not really affecting me, so it doesn't really matter if I stay in or not. And I feel like as humanity, that's kind of like an overarching like idea. People aren't taking it that serious because it's not directly affecting them. And that's just how, like, look at how people behaved in the grocery store. Like animals, like someone has said. Like, they're not taking it seriously. They're doing all these things because, okay, it's directly affecting them because when they go to the grocery store, there's no toilet paper, so they're going to buy out all the toilet paper that's there. Otherwise, they don't care that, like, they're a little old lady who only comes once a week, doesn't have toilet paper to buy. They don't care about that. So it's a shame. It really is. But yeah, what are your thoughts? Like, how do you feel for new joiners? How do you feel about how we've yeah, definitely people are selfish. Hey, Auntie Angie. How do you feel about how not new joiners. How do you feel about the way people have responded to the outbreak? Do you feel like people are taking it serious? Do you feel like they're not taking it serious? Why do you feel like they're taking it serious, or why do you feel like they're not taking it serious? What sorts of things could we have done better? Because, like, obviously we know that it was not handled well. So what sort of things could we have done aside from, okay, closing the borders earlier? So that someone had mentioned that. And I feel like that could have been, like, implemented earlier on, and that may have made a world of difference. On a more everyday social level, what sorts of things could we have done? Do you feel like it would have been beneficial to close down shops and small businesses? Are you still able to support shops and small businesses, even though most, especially the food industry, they're closed? A lot of them are closed. They're not open. They're not going to be open. So how do we still support these businesses? How do we still build up our communities while staying safe? Like, what are some of your thoughts and ideas of how we could do that? How are you doing that? Or are you just staying home? And how important do you feel like staying home is even if you are not sick? Like, do you feel like it's important, or do you feel like it's over exaggerated for media purposes? I just wonder. Yeah. So what are your thoughts? Tell me what your thoughts are on how this is being handled. And again, if you're joining me on YouTube, you can comment in the comment section below. I'm definitely answering, responding to all the comments, answering all questions as best as I can. I'm not like, I don't have copious amounts of medical knowledge, but I know enough. And I feel like what's also important, as I pose my first question, what sorts of things are you doing right now? Could you have done better? What sorts of things do you feel like we should be doing now as a community to kind of get us through this phase and of this outbreak? Like, what are your thoughts on that? And yeah, so I had a thought, but I can't remember it now. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on. Okay, so I have someone saying that, Angie, you just said that it's not an exaggeration to stay home. So why do you feel like people are not wanting to stay home and not willing to stay home? And how do we encourage, if that's what needs to happen for this pandemic to kind of flatten out, as people have been saying? Oh, now I remember my thought or my point. How do you feel like we should be handling social interactions or encouraging people to stay home and not be one-on-one with people? I think what's very, very important about this is that people, what I've also realized about our society is that people don't actually read. Okay, so we have a comment. It says the government needs to give some money back at this point. So when you say that, where do you feel like the money is coming from? People pay a lot in taxes. Okay, so taxes. So they could do that. The cost of living can be decreased. The cost of living where I live is very high. And in a lot of cities throughout the States, like I lived in Chicago, the cost of living was very high. People are not taking it serious enough. And that's a really good point. Like, what is the government doing right now? What could they have been doing better? What can they be doing better going forward? Because I know in a lot of places, for a lot of people who live in places that are being rented, their rent is still due. So you can't go to work. You're not making the money that you normally would, but you still have to come up with that money for your rent. So I feel like there's a discrepancy there. But back to my earlier point, as you guys continue to comment about what sorts of things we as a people could have done better or should be doing better to take this more serious, and what kinds of things the government and society could have done to help us take this a little bit more serious. I think that people do a poor job. This has shown me that people do a poor job of actually reading. People don't want to educate themselves. They rather someone else who is an expert in something tell them information, they consume it and just treat it as gospel. The government needs to give us some money. Write me my money. I mean, that's definitely a start. I would say that, yeah, like I don't think that stay at home, sick or not. Yeah, people are definitely not staying at home, even if they're sick, if they're not sick, they don't care. They're not staying home. And that's just the reality of it, which is sad. Because a lot of people who are being told stay home for social distancing tend to be younger. And so because maybe symptoms are not really as pronounced in younger people, or they just don't think that, sorry guys, I paused for a second. Or they just don't think that they could get coronavirus, or they just don't think that, they're going to be around anyone who might be vulnerable to getting it. They just don't feel like it's really necessary for them to stay home. But as you guys are continuing to comment and let me know what your guys' thoughts are on how we could have better handled it, I want to circle it back to the initial point of this conversation, which is how do you think humanity is handling this outbreak? And my biggest thought is that, like I was saying, people don't actually read, and that it shows. People rather get information from somewhere else, take it as gospel, and run with it. Or this news broadcaster gave these statistics, that must be right. This medical personnel said this about the N95 masks, that must be right. This person said this, that must be right. Instead of you actually taking time away from your news feed and actually taking an article and reading the article so you can understand. A lot of people don't even actually understand how this virus has transformed itself so that it can go from animals to humans. So people just know it as coronavirus 19 because year 2019, COVID, the disease, whatever the case is. But they don't really know much more. They just know that, symptoms are still similar to the flu. You may be shedding it. You don't know when, how. Like, I feel like it's important that people do their research, read a little bit more so that you don't feel like you're just taking people's word for it. And that's something, as someone who is working towards being in the medical field, I feel like I always tell people that they need to advocate for their own health. Nobody knows you or your body or what's going to be best for you and your body like you do. So let me just get to this comment. So a person can have it, not have symptoms, and pass it on to you, who then passes it on to your grandparents, elderly person, someone who's pregnant. I know a couple people who are pregnant right now, people who are just vulnerable in terms of just their immune system. And, I think it's important to stay home for those people. And to just, I think, again, it just points to this idea that we're very selfish, like you had said. We live in a very selfish time. We don't care about things unless it directly affects us. We don't want to read about anything unless, again, it directly affects us. We rather just take someone else's word for it. As soon as I started hearing about this, yes, I'd already heard and known about coronavirus, but very minimally. So I started going on WHO, the website. I started going on the CDC website, reading up about it. I started going on Johns Hopkins website, and reading about the research that they're doing and what's going on with them. And I feel like that has helped me formulate my own ideas and understanding instead of just taking somebody's word for it. Anderson Cooper, Don Lemon, Donald Trump, who clearly anytime he says something, there has to be a cleanup brigade behind him because he never really seems to. Anyways, I think it's very important that we advocate for learning about, understanding, and engaging in knowledgeable conversations because we've educated ourselves. It's not enough to just hear me talking about it. And that's why I've made it a big point to not actually discuss the virus in and of itself and the background of it, because I feel like it's important to not just spoon feed people things. Like, no, go out, get the information for yourself, understand exactly what's happening, how it's affecting you, how it could be potentially affecting people around you, those that you love. That's something that we're not doing. So those are some of the things that I feel those are some of the things I feel like have negatively proven themselves to affect our humanity, our inability to share and care about each other, our lack of preparedness, and our desire to just be not proactive, reactive. Okay, so I have one comment. People who have traveled must quarantine themselves. They are going home to their elderly parents and grandparents. If a family member has traveled out of the country, they must quarantine for 14 days. People aren't taking that serious. I mean, people are saying that. And I think that now, like when you see whole entire cities shutting down, and hey to everyone new who's joining, thank you so much for joining. I do appreciate it. So if you're not following me on YouTube, my YouTube channel page is in my bio section on my Instagram page. So just go directly there after the conversation, of course. Click on the link and it'll take you to my newest upload. But then you can just subscribe. The little button is at the bottom. It says subscribe. So go subscribe to my channel and watch all my content. And if you're already on YouTube and watching me from here and interacting with me, thank you so much. You can go ahead and follow me on my Instagram page as well. The handle is in my homepage. It's in the little icon. You click on the Instagram icon and it'll take you directly to my Instagram page where you can follow me on there. And so all my uploads and updates will be on both pages. Okay, so let me get back to some of these comments. They should be fine for not not following the procedures put into place. Yes, I think a lot of people are now like actually like there's a lot of cities who I think are stipulating that people must either not be out, like I know Illinois shut down, LA has shut down, and people are actually getting fined. I heard that in Italy, people were actually getting fined for going outside and not actually having a legitimate reason for being outside, which I think is great. I think that that is a good response to making sure that people are following the rules. And unfortunately, people are, like we had said before, are selfish, and unless it's directly affecting you, you don't really care for the most part. And not everyone, but there's a lot of people, like the people that you see in Miami, like having the time of their lives and just on beach and skin out and all this stuff, like they don't care because they're not going home to people who might be of the vulnerable sector. They're not going home to people who might be elderly. They may not be going home to someone who is pregnant or a little kid who could easily get sick. Not saying that kids are like, high on the list of people who could potentially show symptoms and be like pass on the infection. But I don't know. I just think that it's interesting that people just don't care unless they're directly affected. And so those are some of the key things that I feel like we've kind of missed the mark on. What's happening in Italy is really sad and very serious. Yes, it is really sad. It is very serious. I will say that the positive thing is it's nice to see that the water is clearing up, which I feel like is also a testament to what our humanity says about our humanity. Like, were we treating the earth this poorly that animals literally do not want to come out? Like, the water, the canals apparently are a lot clearer. This is the first time in years that you've been able to see the bottom of the canal and the fish in the canal. People have been sightseeing dolphins and that sort of a thing. Yes, so they do. Yes. So in Italy, we have a comment that says, so sad, and they have some of the oldest population, which is also contributing to their death numbers. Yeah, so in Italy, high amount of people who are older. So as you know, the disease is predominates over people who might be elderly, people who have comorbidities, things that, like if you're diabetic, things like if you're pregnant, you may not be older, but you may be pregnant. These sorts of things all factor into why you might be more prone or susceptible to getting the virus, and then not only getting it, but also having it develop into something more serious like acute respiratory distress or pneumonia or even death. So let me see. The universe is putting us all in timeout for being awful to the universe. Yes, a very long time out. And it is sad. It's sad to see that it took all of this for creatures to start popping up that normally should have just been there because we just don't take care of our earth and our surroundings. So some of the prominent things I think that we discussed and people have really commented on is that the government was not prepared. Government was not prepared for this. Government did not take it serious. Government was reactive as opposed to proactive. Borders should have been closed a long time ago. People didn't start doing that until they started seeing people literally dying like flies. And I hate to deduce people down to that, but the way that you're seeing the numbers jump every day, it's wild. And I feel like until that started happening, people weren't taking it serious. Hey to everyone new who's joining. So people weren't taking it serious until people started dying. And that says a lot, I think, about our humanity. When I look at the grocery stores and the way that people are acting and reacting in the grocery stores, fighting little old women for rolls of toilet paper. Nobody wants to bathe their skin, but they want to grab up all the toilet paper. When I go into the grocery store, and I literally kid you not, the soap, the soap for dishes is all there. So you're washing, you're wiping your booty, but you're not washing your dishes. And then I go to the aisle where there's all this the shower gels. All of the shower gels are still there. So you're washing your hands, but you're not washing your body. Something is not adding up. And I feel like that says a lot about our humanity too. We're very much sheeps. So when you see one person doing something or buying something in excess, your mind automatically goes to, if I don't buy 10 of them, when I try to come back tomorrow, there will be none. Instead of, let me just buy 2. I feel like I said earlier, it's ridiculous that there has to be signs saying limit 2 per person. How are you as an adult telling a child that they need to learn how to share, but hoarding all of the supplies and the resources in the grocery store? Does that make any sense? That I don't understand. Like, all of these older people who they should be ashamed of themselves for going. Yesterday, I saw, maybe 2 days ago, I saw a woman come out of No Frills. I kid you not, she had a cart full of toilet paper. A friend had told me that, a friend told me he went to the grocery store and there was this lady who had packed up her cart with rolls and rolls of toilet paper. And he was trying to ask her, like, excuse me, like, you just got the last one. Like, would you mind if I took one? You have like 5. And she's just like, better luck next time. Literally said that and rolled her cart away. When she got to the checkout line now, the guy was like, I'm sorry, there's a limit of 2 per person. And she had to go put some back. And my friend was like, I was laughing, but I was like, good for you, because you shouldn't have been so greedy in the first place. And it's just very telling of our human nature and the fact that we're sheeps and that we're greedy. You see one person doing it automatically. Oh, I guess that person is doing it. So let me just do it so that I can, be a part of this too. What do I mean by the government was not prepared? I think that when I say that, and that was also a comment, the government wasn't prepared in the sense of they were slow to react to the exponentially increasing numbers of people who were getting the virus. The borders, they could have very well closed borders when they first started hearing about it, or paid more attention, or prepared themselves by way of, okay, like, this is getting serious. People are dying, maybe in small numbers, but are we prepared? Is our health care system prepared? Because as it stands right now, I think there is not enough. I don't remember where I read it, or I think I read it or heard it, but in a lot of hospitals, they're not prepared for the increase in number of people who would be coming in because of COVID with respiratory symptoms, to the point where they would need to be on a ventilator of some sort. The system is not prepared. And so government has to take accountability for that. Did you have resources in place prior? Because I feel like we should have learned our lesson from SARS. Now, even though that didn't have what is seeming to be, from my understanding, like, as profound of an effect, and even if we do comparison with something like the seasonal flu, which has a much higher incident rate and a lot of deaths, but in comparison, not as the percentage of deaths in comparison is not as high based on numbers. And that's not just me saying it. It's like, I did do a little bit of research. So like I said, don't take my word for it. Go on go on the CDC websites, read, research for yourself, see what everyone is saying. But yeah, no, I think that people just did not take it as serious as they should have. And the government could have and should have done, especially here in Canada. I can't speak for everyone else, but when I saw Justin Trudeau on there talking like this was like the voice that he was using, Canadians must come home now. I was like, first of all, why are you talking like that? This is not an infomercial. Like, I was out of hand, which is telling of their preparedness. So let me just cycle back. So the things that we've discussed that, let me know that our society was not prepared, and what it says about our humanity is that government didn't handle it well. We as people have not handled it well in terms of how we're interacting and caring about the well-being of other people, even though we may not be sick. So there were so many comments here that spoke openly about, still gallivanting on beaches, still going out, having a great time, thinking that this is just vacation. No, you should actually be practicing active social distancing in order to protect yourself. People are hoarding. So again, like that just speaks to our humanity and our selfishness and our humanity. And then when I think about like the healthcare system and like how unprepared the healthcare system was, again, I guess that cycles back to the government, but like there's people who are in retirement are being called to come back. People, older physicians, older nurses, like people who were in hospitals, retired people are being called and asked to come back to help with the influx of people coming in with symptoms that look so similar that they know like right away, okay, this has to be COVID. Let's get this person into isolation. The fact that there are people talking about having to reuse masks is wild to me. The fact that I see regular people on the streets with N95 masks and surgical masks. First of all, the surgical masks are to protect other people from your germs. Now, if you have the mask on, it means potentially that you are sick, which also should mean that you should stay home. No, I don't understand why people are going outside with the mask that is protecting other people from your germs. That's not protecting you from other people's germs. That's not how that mask works. So I don't know what to tell you about the masks. The gloves, when you touch things, just wash your hands, because there are people in jobs that actually need those gloves, that you sitting at home or going to the grocery store and putting on gloves and mask that could have gone to somebody who actually needs it, who is working in a hospital, who's working with vulnerable sector population, like older people who are working in homes with geriatric populations. These are the people that actually need those supplies and resources. So I feel like it's very selfish for you to just go on hoard and take all of these things. But that's just my opinion. And what do I know? I just know a little, not a lot. So I'm only like, here to say a little bit of what I think I know. Like I said, look on WHO. Let me go look on the CDC website, see exactly how this virus is developing, what it means for my community, what it means for my family, what it means for me. People guys have questions or comments, I'm going to wrap it up. So hopefully this was informative. Hopefully this was laid back. Hopefully you guys are doing well in your self-isolation. I will say, I will have that. Actually, let me just kind of backtrack. So in terms of isolation, it's hard for people. It's hard. When I see people on TikTok creating videos, old people who are on TikTok who would not otherwise be on TikTok because they cannot go to work, it's wild to me that people, you realize the importance of social interaction and how when you're being told that you can't have out, but when someone takes the option away, it's hurtful. And I'm finding that a lot of people are feeling that way. So we have stay home, entertain yourself. And it's hard to do that because there's only so many things you can do at home. I don't really have board games here. A lot of people do, which is cool. Watching movies, you can only watch so many movies, I feel like, before you get tired. You could cook, but that would require you to go out and get all of these grocery stores. And if you're trying to social distance, then I don't really know, if that's going to work out. But yeah, I feel like people are really finding it hard to, as much as people say, I like staying home and I want to be at home and I don't like to be around people. When someone takes that option away from you, you're like, excuse me, no, I want to be able to go out and do whatever I want to do. Listen to music, that's good. What are some of your playlists looking like? Your playlists during this time? I know that, oh my gosh, what's his name? The Weeknd just dropped his new album, Sleep. The Weeknd just dropped his new album. Have any of you listened? I think this is a great time to market yourself because people are at home not doing anything. So if you want to market yourself, this is a great time to do that because everyone's going to see everything that you've posted and put out there and market it. Music. I've been trying to get in some studying. I'm trying to cooking a little bit more because I'm not going to the library, which is really depressing for me. The distancing thing is really making people go crazy. Soul searching, reading and soul searching, I think, go hand in hand. Trying to read my Bible more. Unfortunately, this past week, I feel like I did not read as much as I would have. I normally read once a day. And that's just intense study, not intense study, but I'm reading, going through the scriptures prayerfully. And that's something that I want to implement this week, to do that diligently every day. Right now, in case anyone is wondering, I'm studying the book of John, well, 1 John, I should say. And it's really great. It's a short, if you've never read the Bible before, it's a short book, 1 John, not John, 1 John. I think it's only 5 chapters, and it's really, really good. And it's a great place to kind of start and understand faith and salvation and what it looks like, what it means. So we have meditate, soul searching. People do a lot of things and are doing a lot of, I've seen a lot more people doing Pilates, stretching, things that they wouldn't normally be doing, which is cool. So yeah, I think that people are really having to get creative, especially those with little ones. Because I can't imagine having to be home with the little one the whole day. Is it not your nap time? You don't want to go to sleep? No? Okay. So yeah. But anyways, guys, this has been fantastic. I love obviously coming on here and chatting with you guys. The live will be up into tomorrow, so you guys can watch the live at your leisure. If I don't have it up tomorrow, that's my style guide, that it will be up on Wednesday, and I'll be focusing on how to style denim shirts. So yeah, it should be fun. I will say that, wow, I didn't even realize that Instagram Live like gives you a countdown to how much more time you have remaining. Rude, you're about to kick me off. I have 1 minute and 30 seconds left. But let me just mark it myself. So yeah, live video coming either tomorrow or on Wednesday, a style guide on how to style your denim shirts. I know none of you are going anywhere, but when you guys are getting back to spring and to work and all that sort of thing, you'll have some cute inspo ideas for how to style just casual everyday clothing. So I hope you guys enjoy that. If you have not watched my last styling video, please go do so. The link should be on in my bio. Actually, the link is for my last upload. So that video, this last style guide, is 2 videos ago. So just go to my page, watch that video, then go back and watch the style guide. It's all good. Watch all of them. Have a good time. Play dress up at your house. That's another fun thing to do. Dress up at your house until, you know, you have somewhere to go. Take some pictures, you know, find your light. It's a great time for that. Like, literally, it really is. But anyways, guys, this has been so fun. Such a slice. I hope to see you guys in my next live video. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe to my channel. Again, the information is in my description box on my YouTube page, and I will see you guys in my next live. Don't know when that will be, but let me know in the comment section what kinds of things you want me to jump on here and talk about, and we definitely can get into that. And hopefully I will have a 2 a.m. love conversation for you guys coming soon. I want to have a guest. I won't tell you who, but there will be a guest in the next 2 a.m. love. So look out for that. Okay, guys. Bye. And bye to my YouTube followers as well. I'll see you guys soon.